Welcome to Design to Move, a weekly functional movement series reviewing common movement impairment syndromes, muscle imbalances, and injury cycles and how to correct for them. Don't just exercise, but restore optimal movement.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode from our series Design to Move. I'm Ryan and this is Hunter. We're both movement specialists here at Fluid Health and Fitness. Today's episode we're talking about excessive posterior pelvic tilt, where the pelvis is actually rotating back. And we're going to go through a series of different exercises where we're learning to mobilize, activate, integrate, and then strengthen, so that way that you can bring your body back into better balance. And we have a blog on the topic, and you can read that in the description down below. And you can always reach out to us at admin@fluidhealthandfitness.com for any inquiries or for a free virtual assessment. All right, and we will have a table of contents over here to our left, where you can see the certain things that we are going through throughout the video. And if you've already seen it before and you just want a snapshot of each of the exercises to follow along with, you can scroll to that part of the video and follow from there. All right, our first segment is mobility and release, where we're going to be targeting the lateral hamstring, the bicep femoris, along with some of the lateral rotators, specifically the piriformis. We know that both of these muscles play a big role in pulling that pelvis down. They normally will work together to bring the femur out as well. All right, so the first muscle that we're gonna target is the bicep femoris. This is one of the outer hamstring muscles. And part of the reason for targeting this is when you do have that posterior tilt and the pelvis is rolled underneath, the femurs like to move in the socket and also churn out as well. So one, we're gonna target the muscle that pulls the pelvis down, and then two, it also rotates the femurs out. So you're getting a 2-for-1 with this one. The way to get into it is by one, bringing the feet within your Q angle, so inside the hips, and then you're gonna kick the one leg out front, the leg that you're targeting, and then to put an emphasis on stretching that lateral hamstring, we are gonna point the toe in, going away from the direction it would normally work. And then from there, you're gonna inhale as you sink down and reach into it with the opposite arm. He's making sure that he's keeping the arch in his back, so he isn't stretching through his back, and he's maintaining a stretch through the hamstring. And then from there, he's also getting this nice little bit of rotation in his body, which also helps facilitate the stretch. All right, and he's going through 3 to 5 of these dynamic stretches where he's working through, reaching towards it, increasing the stretch, and then bringing it back and letting it relax. And then the next muscle up after the bicep femoris is going to be the piriformis. And this muscle ties directly into your greater trochanter and goes into your sacrum. And the best way to get at this muscle is to go down in a kneeling position with one leg back, which Hunter is going to demonstrate here. One thing he's doing in particular is he's making sure he's not completely bringing the leg out into external rotation. This helps to keep the stretch away from the glutes and keeps it more geared towards the piriformis. So Hunter is making a focus to bring his hip out to the left when he's stretching on that left side, but he's also maintaining the right hip down towards the ground, keeping that nice stable pelvic position here. He's probably getting a great stretch through the piriformis there. And then when he breathes in, he's gonna flex that muscle, lifting himself up, and then he's gonna let it go and sink a little bit deeper into the stretch. So he's actively pushing that knee into the ground to activate the muscle, and then bringing it back to that stretch. Going through this contract and relax about 3 to 5 times. All right, and so you're gonna do both of these stretches on each side for roughly 30 to 60 seconds, going through the contract and relax for each one, and then that'll bring you into our next segment. All right, our next segment is activation, where we're going to be targeting the iliopsoas with a movement that is a supine single leg hip flexion. We're going to add some load to the foot so we can increase the load on that muscle as well. And we're going to tie in some pressures from the opposite side of the body to work on your anterior and posterior sling at the same time. All right, and so right now Hunter is laying on the ground getting ready for supine single leg hip flexion. And to do this move, we'd like to have a little bit of resistance to put around the leg. And from here, He wants to work on 2 different sling systems within his body, so that way it creates a good effectiveness of muscles working together. So he's going to work on the posterior oblique sling by pushing down on his right arm and left leg together as he brings his leg up into flexion and reaches with the left arm. And then he's going to slowly bring that back down with his exhale, controlling the movement. And he's going to work through this for up to 20 reps, right around 2 minutes of time. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow him to work multiple muscle systems together while he builds in that hip flexion capability that'll bring his hip out of that posterior pelvic tilt. And he's going to want to do this for, again, 20 reps on each side, and then we'll move on to our next segment, integrate. All right, next up is our segment on integration, where we're going to be tying multiple joints together in the right sequencing. We're going to be going through a single leg, single arm row, where we focus on bringing a stretch into that hip flexor while we're working through retraction on the same side. All right, and now Hunter is getting set up for this single arm row. We're going to put an emphasis on this one to put a stretch on that hamstring muscle to make sure that we're keeping a good position of the pelvis and that he is not going past the ability of stretch that he has in the hamstring. So from here, he is getting set up to the point where he does have that stretch on the hamstring, and then he is going to pull through, bringing the shoulder back first, and then the arm with it. And you can notice that he also has this reciprocal movement with his arms, so that way he can get a better rotation in that upper body. And he's working really hard to keep this curve in his back as he's rotating through the movement. And from there, you're going to want to spend 2 minutes doing this drill, and that'll come up to approximately 20 reps. And remembering with this move that you're focusing on precision and taking your time with it, so that way you can integrate all of the systems of the body together. All right, and our last segment is strength, where we focus on building the muscle so that way it will hold the posture for an extended period of time. In this section, we're going to be talking and demonstrating a 4-point swimmer with a focus on hip flexion. All right, so now Hunter's getting set up for the 4-point swimmer. What he's going to do is he's going to kick one leg back straight, and then the opposite leg is up into flexion like we were talking about previously in the activation segment. And what he's going to do is as he inhales, he's going to take a really big breath in. He's going to push through his right arm. He's going to try to bring his knee and his hand together, activating that anterior oblique sling that runs across the front of the body. At the same time, he's keeping the glute engaged and retracting through his shoulder. So he's working through both crosses on the front and back side of the body to get a great strength movement that's going to help him hold his posture for an extended period of time. All right, and along with this exercise and the rest of them, you're going to want to spend the 2 minutes with it, and you're going to want to do it on each side, taking a short break in between to give the core a break. All right, and that concludes our video on excessive posterior tilt. Remembering that we went through mobilizing the areas that pull the pelvis down. We activated the musculature that helps to pull the pelvis in the other direction, anteriorly bringing it up. And then after that, we integrated to tie in all the muscles to work together, and then we ended off with some strength work, so that way that your body will hold this posture for an extended period of time. And if you have any more questions, feel free to comment below or send an email over to admin@fluidhealthandfitness.com. Again, as always, there's some more information in our blog that will be listed below as well. We thank you guys for checking out the video, and would love to see you back here for another episode. And as we always say here at Fluid Health and Fitness, your body is designed to move, so stay in motion. We'll see you next time.